On this video, I'm going to show you how to utilize your graphing calculator to make linear regression equations and graphs. Now, I've given you written instructions, but if you are not in class and you miss the visual instructions, this should help you out with using the calculator and knowing what buttons to press and all that good stuff. All right, so this is my graphing calculator, and I'm probably going to switch it out with another graphing calculator because I have the new operating system on mine. So if you have a calculator with the old operating system, what you see on your screen may look a little different in some places, but not everywhere. And I apologize if this is shaky a little bit because I'm kind of holding it on my knee to make it as steady as possible. All right, so on my calculator, in order to put data in the calculator, I have to first go to stat. So see the stat button? Oops, let me get rid of that. Quit, clear, stat. Okay, so now you should see this on your screen. When we go to put data into the calculator, we're going to use this edit function. So now I just want you to go down to the bottom and press enter so you see this pop up. Now let me tell you what data I'm going to use so that you can go along with me. I'm going to utilize a problem in the textbook. It's problem number 4 on page 41 of section 1.6. Now, I have already put the data in my calculator, but what if you have different data because you borrowed a calculator from someone? Well, if you want to get rid of data, if you put the cursor on the list you want to get rid of, then you're going to press the clear button, not the delete button. If you press this, it will make the entire list go away. And then in order to get it back, you will have to go to stat number 5, and then you have to hit enter twice till you see done. And now when you go back, you'll notice that voila, it's back. So if you accidentally press delete, that's how you fix it. Okay, so if you want to get rid of the data, you just put the cursor on L1, press clear, you'll notice the bottom of the screen went away, and then down, and voila, it all went away. So in the problem we're going to do, it's a problem involving years as the input. Whenever we deal with a problem with years, instead of using the years, which happen to be 1995, 1996, 1997, we're instead going to use numbers, because if you use the years, a lot of times what happens is you get something called a data overload error, and we want to avoid that from happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 1995, we're going to call it year 0, and then you're going to press 0 and enter. If you don't press enter, it will not pop up here. Now the reason we're going to call that 0 is then we're going to make every year after that years since 1995. So 1996 would be 1 year since. And then the next one is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the last year is 7 years since 1995. If you do not have data that it matches like this, if you have one more piece of data in one of those lists, you'll get an error message. So we want to avoid that from happening. Once you have the data in the calculator, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to stat. And then this time we're going to go to calc. Number 4 is called linreg. That's for linear regression, also known as the line of best fit. So you're going to hit enter. And then if you have the new operating system, this pops up on your screen. What this says is your X values were put in list 1. Your Y values were put in list 2. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go down to store Reg Eq. That means store your regression equation so that you can graph it later. In order to store it, you're going to press this button here. It says vars. That stands for variables. And then you're going to press 1 to the right to Y vars. And then you're going to hit enter twice. So what that tells the calculator to do is it says, please store my new equation in y1 equals. So it's going to store it up here in a minute. Now you're going to go down here to calculate, and you should get this. If you don't get R2 and R, then we need to go fix something on your calculator. What we're going to do is we're going to go to, move this back a little. I want you to do, let's see, second and then 0, which is called the catalog. The catalog is every function on your calculator in alphabetical order. So we're going to look for something called diagnostic on, which is going to be in the D's. So you only do this if R squared and R did not show up. If they did show up, don't do this step. So if you find diagnostic on, and you hit enter twice, now when you go back to stat, calc, and then number 4, now this should pop up. And then you'll go down here to store reg equation, vars, y vars, enter, enter, and now, now you should go to calculate. All right, now what do we do with equations that have decimals? You round it off to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so now what I want you to notice is, so I know my equation. My equation is y equals 132.80 x plus 2310.08. And if you go to y equals, you'll notice the equation got put into y1 equals. Now, if you have the old version of the calculator, when you press stat, calc, and then number 4, you'll get this instead. That's okay, just hit enter, and it should still all pop up. Oops, but I gotta go back a second because I forgot to do something. Okay, so let's go to stat, calc, number 4. All right. If this pops up and you don't get that store reg equation, then the way you're going to do it is once you get to this point, before you hit enter, now you're going to go to vars, y vars, enter, enter, and you'll notice that y1 pops up at the end. Now when you hit enter, here's your equation, and then there it's stored. Okay, so now back to the calculator with the new operating system. Now I want to graph this. So in order to graph it, I'm going to go to second y equals. This is called the stat plot. And I'm going to turn the stat plot on by hitting enter twice. The other thing you need to make sure, sorry about that. All right, so I turn that on. The next thing that I need to make sure is that this is highlighted under type. If you're borrowing a calculator, when the statistics students use this calculator, they will often change this. So make sure it's highlighted on the first one, and make sure X list says L1 and Y list says L2. If it doesn't, we can change it using the blue functions. So you'll see like second number 1 will be L1, second number 2 will be L2. So we can change it, but if it's already right, then leave it. Once you've done that, you're going to go to zoom, and you're going to look for zoom 9. It's called zoom stat. And then when you hit enter, what the calculator will do is it will redo the window on the screen. The little boxes are the stat plot, and then the line is your line of best fit. Now, although we did this for linear regressions, we could also use this for quadratic, cubic, and quartic regressions, which we did last year in Algebra 2. I don't believe there are any other differences then after that with the new operating system. Let me pull this calculator and make sure. Okay, let's see. Turn the stat plot on. That's correct. And then I'm going to go to zoom 9. And I should pretty much get the same thing. Hey, look, they look the same. So that's how you're going to do the linear regression in your calculator. These are the steps that follow along with the written instructions that we've given you.